Hi, my dear listener. Before we get too into the podcast today, there is something that I want to talk about. I hope that you'll understand. Because the truth is, I have been lying to you. And it's something that we all do, though it's not something we all talk about. Maybe we do it for polite conversation or because we don't want to burden the world with our troubles, or maybe it's just a habit. But I am making an effort to be more authentic and a more open person. I mean, I already feel like I'm a pretty open person. You can ask me anything and I'll probably tell you. I want to try and be more honest with myself and therefore with you. So here in the States, it's pretty common when you see someone to say, "Hi, how are you?" And then to respond with, "Good," or "Fine, how are you?" And it's become this exchange, a greeting, more than just saying hello. It also includes, "How are you?" And it's become a habit more than anything to just have it become an automated response. Fine, good, how are you? But the truth is, I'm not fine or good sometimes. A lot of the time lately. And you can tell by how I respond. If I say I'm great, I probably am. If I'm brilliant, I probably am. But if I say I'm okay, there's a pretty high chance that I'm not okay. If I say I'm fine, something's bothering me. And why do we do this? Why do we say that we're fine when we're not fine? The last few days have been very hard for me. And then today was like the cherry on top, if you will. Got some hard news about my mom health-wise, and I don't know, everything just kind of hit me at once. I had this whole thing planned out for this podcast. And we'll probably get into some of it still, but right now I just wanted you to know. And maybe this is a reminder to myself as well that it's okay to not be okay. We don't have to pretend that we're fine when we're not fine. It's okay to feel whatever you're feeling. Feel it deeply. Feel it completely. Sit with it. Try and understand it. But don't stay there. Don't unpack and live in that pain. I have a horrible tendency when I am feeling sad to put on sad music and make myself even more sad. And sometimes I'll repeat the same song. Okay, it's not sometimes. Generally, I will repeat the same song over and over again because my heart isn't heavy enough and I'm not burdened enough. I just need music to complete what I'm feeling. And that's been me the last few days, the same few songs over and over again on repeat. Just somehow the music understands how I'm feeling in a way that I can't express. It's a brilliant thing about music, isn't it? How it's able to pull and tear our soul from our body for a minute. I love it. Then I don't know what I'd do without music, if I'm being honest. I heard some very sad news recently. Okay, maybe not sad news, but I read something that kind of shook me a little bit. You see, I've always been the kind of person who listens to music like 24/7 when I sleep, and when I first thing I get up in the morning, and throughout the whole day, there's always music playing. And I read this thing that said that if you have to have music when you go to sleep, it's like white noise, that it's actually a trauma response, that you have to have something playing. And I was just like, oh, well then, that makes sense, but also it makes me very sad at the same time. I mean, I'm not going to stop. I have gone a few days where I went to bed and I didn't put music on, and it felt so quiet. It was strange. That's okay, I think, every now and again, just to have that quiet stillness, you know? I think we need it. The world is a busy, busy place for us, and I think that we, as a unified people, take advantage of the fact that we have everything at our fingertips. It's overwhelming. So, that's what's going on with me. And I hope you will forgive me if I sound a little more morose than usual and not my bubbly, cheerful self like I normally do. Life has a way of knocking us back a little bit, and everything will be okay in the end. It's just going to take a bit to get there. So I've been thinking quite a bit lately about my Roman Empire, the one thing that I think about every day and never get tired of, which is love in one form or another, and about how we love and why we love and the people we love and the things we love. And I keep getting drawn back to love languages. I keep coming back to them. I find the idea of it very interesting because as somebody who's still learning quite a bit about themselves and how they want to give and receive love, I think it's very interesting. And for those who don't know, this comes from a book. Basically, it states that there are 5 love languages. So there's words of affirmation, quality time, receiving gifts, acts of service, and physical touch. Now, not everyone communicates love the same way. People have different ways that they like to receive love and give love. There are tests that you can take, and it kind of tells you which one's like your main one. And I've taken it a couple times, and I keep getting like a tie between quality time and physical touch. They seem to like tie right up there for me. But I do think that I think they're all important in their own way. Even if one is more, like say you're more into physical touch than you are anything else, I still think the others are important. Like they all benefit each other in one way or another. Let's get into them a little bit because I found them very interesting, and maybe you find it interesting too. If you're like me, maybe you're going to learn a little bit more about how to love yourself and other people. The first one is words of affirmation. So this is verbal acknowledgments of affection. So compliments, words of appreciation, verbal encouragement, and frequent communication via texting or social media. Written and spoken words of affection make these kind of people feel understood and appreciated. So if, say, your partner or friend or someone you care about, say that theirs is words of affirmation, send an unexpected note or text or card to them and just genuinely encourage them often. I like this one because who doesn't like being complimented? Who doesn't like being appreciated and encouraged? And I'm kind of one of those people that like to communicate with someone I care about often because I like to have them in my life. So why would I not want to talk to them and tell them how amazing they are and that they're doing a great job and that I believe in them, So for me, it makes sense. I totally get it. Not to say that there's one in here that doesn't make sense. I just words of affirmation for me is probably my third one. Okay, so the next one is quality time, which, like I said, is tied for first for me. So this is most adored when someone wants to spend quality time with you and is always down to hang out with you. These kind of people, we love active listening, eye contact, and a full presence. You're not on your phone when you're talking to them. So it's all about giving your undivided attention, which if you have ADHD is not always the easiest thing to do, but I think it's the effort, They recommend if someone that you love has this as a main one, that you take time to create special moments together, go on walks or do small things together. And weekend getaways are huge if you're into quality time. Obviously. Totally get this one, 100,000%, because I want to feel like you care. And the best way for you to show me that you care is to want to spend time with me, to listen to me and be there with me, and to show me that you're actually listening, actively participating in the conversation and engaging with me. I think it's lovely. I love quality time. The next one is acts of service. This one for me is probably 5. It's lower for me. It's not high priority for me. So this one is when someone goes out of their way to make your life easier. So for people who think that actions speak louder than words, you like to be shown and not told how much you're appreciated. So for this one, you do chores together, you make them breakfast in bed, you go out of your way to make their daily workload easier. So I get it. I totally understand it. But for me personally, I don't think it's 100% necessary to have somebody climb a ladder and change a light bulb for me. Acts of service is just not high up as far as the other ones are for me. I do like the idea of actions speaking louder than words, but I think that you can do that in other love languages, not just in this one. Quality time, active listening is a great way to show action speaking more than words because you're actually participating. But acts of service is great, and there's nothing against it. The next one is gifts, and this is lower for me. It used to be higher because I used to think that people showed appreciation by giving them things. And I am definitely guilty of being the kind of person that if I like you, I will bake for you, I will make stuff special for you, I will spoil you rotten, but it's not super high on the list for me anymore. So for this one, you feel loved when people give you visual symbols of love. It's not about monetary value, but the thought behind it. So people with this recognize and value the gift-giving process, how careful you thought about something, you deliberately chose an object, and the emotional benefits of getting the gift. They enjoy being gifted something physical and meaningful, and being given meaningful things that matter to them and reflect what they value. Give thoughtful gifts and gestures. Small things matter in big ways. Express gratitude when receiving a gift from them. Pretty obvious kind of stuff, I feel. Not high priority on my personal list. Physical touch is the next one, and it is tied for first for me. This is when you feel loved when you receive physical signs of affection, kissing, holding hands, cuddling, etc. Now, it actually roots back to childhood, when you felt like a deep connection to your parents, when you were held and kissed and touched. And it is the value of feeling warmth and comfort that comes with physical touch. It's pretty easy. You hug, you kiss, you hold hands, you show physical attention often, and you make intimacy a thoughtful priority. There's a reason why people are touch starved, because they are not getting enough physical contact. I don't remember how many it was exactly. What is it, like 6 hugs a day or something you're supposed to have for wellness or whatever? So yeah, I'm definitely touch starved. So of course physical touch is a high priority for me. Everybody's different. Like I said, everybody processes love and how they want to be loved differently. I did learn that words of affirmation and quality time are like the 2 most popular love languages. It also depends on who you are, where you live, your values, your customs. So certain love languages, which are like more prevalent in the West, are much less common in non-Western cultures. So like in South Asian culture, directly praising someone is really uncomfortable and not well received. You would basically like praise that person through someone else, and then you would hear about it through the grapevine. So like not directly, basically. Also, like public display of affection between like a spouse or a romantic partner is like major taboo. So it's a little different depending on where you live, which I thought was really interesting because I know that, but I never took that into consideration, One thing I found really interesting when I was looking into love languages is that the point of it is that we are supposed to adapt ourselves to our partner's love language, not demand that they use ours. So if your partner's love language is words of affirmation, you are supposed to adapt to what brings them love. And they're supposed to do the same to you. It's useful in how we communicate, how we express ourselves to each other, but it's obviously not a complete solution on how to be happy. It's a starting point on how to love each other, I think, and how to self-regulate our emotions better. It doesn't stop here, obviously. There's a lot more to it than just these simple love languages. So I'm going to post a link to the quiz that I took because I'm curious. Do you believe in this? Do you know your love language? What is it? Do you follow it? If you have a partner or friends, even family, do you try and give their love languages the same amount of love that you would like? I'm curious. Do other people follow this? Or I would like to be better. And I would like to use it on myself more than anything as well, too. Acknowledging that physical touch and quality time. Maybe I should spend more time with myself and do things that make me feel loved in my own way. So yeah, I am curious about how you receive love. And if it's different where you live, are things taboo where you live? Are they looked at differently because of where you live? I mean, the world is very different depending on where we're from. And we're all from very different places. So how we love is important because it's another way for us to connect. And that's all I really want here, is to connect with you. You've been listening to A Meeting with Strangers, and I'm Luna. Thanks for tuning in.